Jason Hammer right over there. Indy has reached a grim milestone. I hate to start off a segment like this, but I think it needs to be known that we have broken 200 homicides for the fourth consecutive year.
So it sounds like that whole root cause of crime thing that Joe Hogsett has been wanting to do hasn't been working. Because that was the whole thing that Boss Hogsett wanted to do. Yeah, we've got violent repeat offenders getting back out there in the streets, but we have to figure out why they're doing it.
The whole social aspect of this little experiment has failed miserably, and all under the watch of Joe Hogsett and his administration.
And before anybody sends any snarky tweets or comments or jumps in the YouTube chat, well, you were against his opponents in the Marion County mayor's race. Yeah, because he thought the same thing. If Jefferson Shreve would have beaten Joe Hogsett, get ready, Bal, it'd be the exact same thing. Because when it comes to crime and the plan in Indianapolis, really the only difference was Jefferson Shreve wanted to have a public safety supervisor or director. And that's it. Everything else was the same.
There's another aspect to this number here, 200 homicides for the fourth consecutive year in Indy. And it's really just sad. We have a record for juvenile killings as well. Kids killing kids.
Right. It's a mess, man. And when you look at other big cities, Indianapolis outpacing Chicago. Once you factor in the population difference per capita, Indianapolis is outpacing Chicago. And in terms of sheer numbers, look at the homicide total in a big city like Boston compared to Indianapolis.
Actually, believe it or not, Boston has, under 100 homicides?
Right.
And we were talking to Reverend Charles Harrison. Their goal in a couple of years is to have under 20 to 25 homicides. And Boston is somewhat similar size, maybe just a little bit smaller in terms of sheer numbers for Indianapolis, but the same communities are affected by crime in both of our cities, and somehow they figured it out in Boston. They figured out a way for the mayor and the police, the prosecutor, all to work in cohesive manners, and also similar to the 10-Point Coalition. They have those things over there as well.
It's a blue city.
Yeah.
It's a liberal city, but they have figured it out. And honestly, it's really not that complicated. We've given the solution that's out there multiple times. You let some of these white-collar type of criminals go, and you really throw the book at severe, violent repeat offenders. Big Nige, It's a special day. Let's transition. Let's check in with wheelin', dealin', hair sniffing, kiss stealing Joe Biden.
I got hairy legs.
True international average of pressure.
I'm going to go to bed.
I'm going to go to bed.
NBC News has their poll out, their latest poll. And for the first time, President Trump has overtaken President Joe Biden in polling under the watchful eye of NBC News.
Here it is. Wow. Donald Trump, we have at 46%. Biden, 44%.
And this is significant because this is the first time in the history of our poll that former President Trump beats President Biden, still within the margin of error, but still significant.
Yeah, in 2019, 2020, when Trump was president, he trailed all of them. This year, he's trailed all of them in our poll. First time in more than a dozen polls we've seen a result like this. Some of the other ingredients that go into that, Biden has long had an advantage over Trump on likability. Look, at the start of this year, 39% said they had a positive view of Biden, barely 30 of Trump. We've seen consistently a gap like this. Now the gap is gone. 36 positive on both, and actually Biden 1 point more negative than Trump.
So NBC News in the matchup head-to-head of Donald Trump and Joe Biden for the first time have Trump in the lead.
You hear that chick in the background? Oh, my gosh.
Kristen Welker is about to throw up.
Oh, man. Oh.
Now, before anybody wants to run around and crap snowballs and talk about here comes MAGA 2.0, like we say all the time, number one, national polls don't matter.
It's
states. States are how we pick the president. National polling doesn't matter. And number two, RFK Jr. was not in this poll. There was no third-party candidate in this poll, and I do think that's going to be a factor. So take that with a grain of salt. But, Nige, I don't want to crap too much on Joe Biden because it's a very special day. Happy 81st birthday to Joe Biden.
I got hairy legs.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Why the hell would I take a test?
Come on, man.
Before you got in this program, you take a test where you're taking cocaine. Are you a junkie?
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Happy birthday.
Joe Biden,
Wow.
81 today.
It's quite a tribute.
Now, it's also producer Allison's birthday. So happy birthday to our lovely producer, Allison. Please, if you're listening, feel free to slide into her DMs and send whatever you want on her special day. But in honor of Joe Biden's birthday, here's great moments in Biden birthday history. This is when Joe Biden was trying to remember the name of Martin Luther King III's wife.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Alice. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, I hadn't heard that one for a long time. He had no idea what her name was.
Great moments in Biden birthday history. This is when AI Biden gave me a birthday message.
Hey, Jason, happy birthday, you fat sack of crap. Yeah, that's right, you tub of guts. I know who you are. I've heard your little radio show you do with that bloated drunk named Nigel. Anyway, as you know, I've been keeping busy lately in between unintentional naps, falling off of bicycles, and nibbling on terrified babies like a duck going after kibble. I'll bet you were a real butterball of a baby yourself, weren't you, Goo Gut? What did your poor mother use for formula there, Flubber Blubber? A blend of powdered donuts and Bizquick?
Come on.
Wow.
Anyway, hope you have a nice time at whatever low-grade, all-you-can-eat buffet you go to tonight to celebrate. I'm sure you can't wait to finish the show and run right over there so you can wrap your big fat mouth around the soft-serve machine. Right, Pork Chop?
Maybe.
Want a digestion tip? While you're stuffing your fat face with popcorn shrimp, try not to think about Tony Katz bending over naked and applying moisturizer to his tank.
Oh, come on.
Oh.
What?
And my best to Matt Bear in Traffic. What's with that guy's voice? Is that an act, or is he not getting enough fiber in his diet? Happy birthday and continued success to the Jammer and Nigel show on WIBC in Indianapolis. Smile and wave at the camera. What the hell kind of name is Nigel anyway? Who names a kid Nigel? His parents probably did more dope than Hunter. I'm not going to make it to the John, guys. Get the presidential mop.
Great moments in Biden birthday history. Matt Bear has a look at the roads.
All right, Hammer, looking at northbound Keystone Parkway. Stop and go traffic right now from 106th Street up to 116th. Inbound 65 stop and go after 21st to Meridian Padded. Inbound 69 still a little bit slow from 96 down to 82nd Street. And that's a crash. Meridian at 91st reported with injuries. Traffic sponsored by Mattress Firm. It's your lucky day this Friday until noon at Mattress Firm. Shop doorbusters and get a queen mattress for $89.99 while supplies last. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
All right, coming up here in just a moment, Guy Relford will join us for Monday Gun Day. Stick around for that. Right now, 50 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
We could learn a lot about Window Nation by just looking at the numbers. Over 10,000 positive online reviews. They installed over 200,000 windows last year, 40 times more than the average window company. My mom has cracked drafty windows in her kitchen. She just called Window Nation. She'll have new Window Nation windows in a couple weeks. I'm a customer, and there is quite a deal going on right now.
This is a deal where you are going to save thousands of dollars. 0% interest for 5 years. And that's on top of the existing deal where you buy 2 windows and get 2 for free. And the best part about that, there's no limit. You want to buy more windows, you get more windows for free. 866-90-NATION. Do yourself a favor and call a Window Nation rep. Lock this deal in. 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These ideas were more than just a history lesson for a young Chuck Goodrich. They were a call to action. Growing up in Rowan, Indiana, Chuck took the principles of our nation's founding to heart, believing that in America, anything is possible. Chuck Goodrich was also raised with Midwestern values and learned about a strong work ethic and how to treat people with respect. While paying his way through Purdue, Chuck Goodrich earned an internship at Gaylor Electric. Now, 30 years later, Chuck Goodrich owns that same company and employs 2,000 people. A lot has changed for Chuck Goodrich. However, Chuck and his wife Tricia instill the same conservative values in their family as they place faith and family first. Now, Chuck Goodrich is running for Congress because he believes too many in Washington have forgotten the simple, common sense ideas that make America special. Chuck Goodrich, conservative Republican for Congress.
I'm Chuck Goodrich, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Go With Chuck Goodrich Committee.
Basements get a bad rap, probably because so many of them are wet, leaky, and musty. Michaelis is putting an end to the horror show. Their time-tested waterproofing systems eliminate and prevent water issues. Damp and moldy becomes clean and healthy. They have a lot of homeowners enjoying their basements again. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
Wealth-changing question. Has your advisor created a portfolio based only on your age and risk tolerance? That's simply not good enough. Your money deserves better, and so do you. At Creative Planning, our private wealth managers learn about you first. And then they create a customized plan and portfolio by partnering with our in-house money managers, accountants, and attorneys. Don't settle for a standard portfolio. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
That's Mike saying good morning. It's the best he can do right now. Yeah, not a cloud in the sky. What Mike could use is a fresh start. And Irish Spring Body Wash. The fresh scent of Irish Spring and those sensational Irish Spring suds are just the reset Mike needs. Now he's ready
to go to work.
It's Sunday. Irish Spring. When the spring hits you, you're ready. Pick up Irish Spring at Walmart today.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's Diamond Engagement Ring Store.
Hammer and Nigel Show.
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer here. Also in studio, the Gun Guy, Guy Relford, host of the Gun Guy Show, 2A attorney, licensed firearms instructor. Guy, how are you?
Man, I'm great, and thanks as always to our sponsor for Monday Gun Day. That's Premier Arms in Brownsburg, with the largest selection of new, used, and historic firearms in the Midwest, and PA Jewelers located right in the store. Check them out at 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg or premierarms.com.
You know, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today is something you had mentioned on your show over the weekend, this proposed legislation coming out of the State House that would amend the Indiana Firearms Preemption Act to actually allow Marion County to institute gun control. Can you tell us about this bill?
Yeah, and the session hasn't started yet, but it's going to be time to file bills here sooner than later. But State Senator Fadi Kadura, Democrat from Indianapolis, represents District 30, which is the north side of Indy, has circulated a bill. In fact, he apparently contacted Fox 59 and wanted to tout this bill because what this would do, just exactly as you said, Nige, this would amend the Indiana Firearms Preemption Act that basically says local governments like the city of Indianapolis cannot regulate firearms. That we have enough regulation of firearms at the state and federal level. We don't need more from every county and city and town, etc. Well, what his bill would do, and he's got a draft of it. In fact, the reporter from Fox 59 showed it to me when she came and did an interview of me in my office. It would say, well, no, local governments can't regulate firearms except with respect to the following, and basically it was hogs its whole wish list of what he wants to do in Marion County. I did notice that absent from that is something that's in the ordinance that the City County Council passed here in Indy, which was to do away with all concealed firearms carry completely. Wow. And that's not in this bill, but it added a couple of things, including regulations for the safe storage of firearms. So if I have somebody under 18 that lives under my roof and I have a gun on the nightstand, I can go to jail for that.
All right, so correct me if I'm wrong, but the Indiana General Assembly still very Republican, correct?
Oh yeah, supermajority in both Senate and the House.
So what's more likely to happen? State Senator Kedora gets his way, or the winner of the bucket game this Saturday beats Georgia in football? Which is more likely to happen, guy?
Well, it's definitely not the success of this legislation in the General Assembly. And in fact, when this gets filed in the Senate, it's very likely it'll go to the Court and Criminal Code Committee in the Senate that's chaired by one Aaron Freeman. Aaron Freeman's the one that asked the Attorney General to render an opinion on whether or not Hogsett's ordinance passed in Indy is even constitutional or not. And Todd Rokita came out with an opinion and said no. So the fact that same chairman would entertain it seriously or give it a hearing or allow it to go forward, I think there's zero chance of that. And in fact, that's why my quote to Fox 59 that they used in their headline, I was happy to see, was dead on arrival. And I think that's exactly what it's going to be. I think it's going to be DOA in the General Assembly.
So what is the point then if they know it's going to be dead on arrival? What's the overall point? What's the bigger picture we're missing here?
Well, I don't think they're going to give up. I mean, the fact that this bill doesn't go forward, if they can have some other bill they try to amend it into, there's all kind of games they can play over in the General Assembly to try to allow it to see the light of day. But at the end of the day, I think the answer to your question, Nigel, is just a means by which they can pander to their base and say it's two things. It's like, look at what we're doing to be tough on guns, and then the second part of that is, but oh damn, these evil Republicans in the General Assembly won't let us keep the citizens of Indianapolis safe. And by the way, it's not limited to Indianapolis. I mean, if they want to do this in Bloomington, which they do, they would allow that. Fort Wayne, Hammond, Gary, you name it. All those jurisdictions, they do all the same thing and as much as they possibly could.
And let's be honest. Let's just say, play ball with me. I know it's not going to happen, but let's just say this does become the law. It's not going to be enforced. You mean to tell me the IMPD officers that are out there that are already completely understaffed and they're trying to find murderers and violent rapists and all this kind of stuff, they're going to be pulling you over as you travel county to county to make sure that you've got the proper firearms stored or something like that?
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
Well, that's right. And by the way, to your point, the rank and file, as represented by the FOP, and our friend Rick Snyder has commented on this. They've made various proposals to the city on how to increase safety and decrease crime, and specifically decrease murders in Indy. And none of them involve passing more laws. They have never come out and say, well, you just pass another law and suddenly the criminals are all going to give up their guns and
it's going to be the one law they obey.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Well, and to that point, and this reporter, I like the reporter, but she looked at me like she was a deer in the headlights, because I said get an answer to this question from Senator Kedora. And this is Hannah Adamson from Fox 59. And I said, get an answer to this question. Get him to tell you the question. Tell you the answer to this. What makes anyone think that a violent criminal who's not afraid of the death penalty for murder, or not afraid of dying in a shootout with police, or not afraid of decades in prison, is going to suddenly give up their evil ways because they're afraid of a fine imposed by the city of Indianapolis? Because that's all an ordinance violation gets you. The city of Indianapolis can't put anybody in jail.
Right.
All they can do is pass an ordinance that says, well, you can be fined. So a guy walking out the door with his AK-47 to kill his rival drug dealer, not afraid of decades in prison or being killed in a shootout, is going to go, wait a minute, Marion County's banned assault weapons. I could be fined for having this in my car. Wow. I better leave my AK-47 at home. I mean, what thinking person thinks that is ever going to happen?
Well, these are also the same people who thought that when permitless carry or constitutional carry became the law, the bad guy sitting at home was going, thank God, now I can finally kill somebody.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I've been waiting for the law to change because I am a law-abiding murderer.
Yeah, well, exactly. Or bad guys are suddenly going to start carrying their guns because we passed permitless carry when they weren't already carrying their guns. Come on, and we had police officers admit that when we took permitless carry through the committee process. But the point comes back, Jason, is they know this. They know this would only affect law-abiding citizens. You care about a $2,500 fine. Nigel does. I do. I mean, I don't want to get. That's a big hit, right? That's more than my mortgage payment. So I care about a $2,500 fine. Does the career criminal?
No.
Does a psychopath? Does a school shooter? Any of those people care about a fine? Of course not. So it's going to affect me and you. It's not going to affect any criminals.
Couple minutes left here with the gun guy, Guy Relford. Saw a headline in Newsweek. I think I forwarded you the article. Wanted to get your thoughts. Overall, I think I'm paraphrasing here. The headline was something to the effect of the NRA is slowly dying.
Yeah.
What did that headline mean? First of all, maybe explain just what the NRA is. Maybe somebody tuning in for the first time doesn't know what the NRA is.
Yeah, well, the NRA, National Rifle Association, has been around. I think it's 1871. It was formed, and it's a grassroots organization. It often gets called the mouthpiece of the gun industry. That's not really what it is.
They've had their convention here in Indy a number of times.
Yeah, exactly, and it's been here twice, and it's been a lot of fun. In fact, you guys have done your show from over there.
The safest weekends downtown.
Oh, yeah. The only weekend there's never a shooting. It's because there's 80,000 people here with guns. But it's a grassroots organization designed around education, training.
Somebody wants information on your 2A project, or if they want to continue this conversation, where can they go?
Yeah, our website's the2aproject.com, so check it out. We got great swag and would love to have you as a member. Or you want to contact me, the best way is give me a follow at Guy Relford on Twitter, at Guy Relford.
Guy, thanks for coming in early today. We appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
We have IU basketball, the Hoosiers taking on Louisville. That's coming up next. This has been the Hammer and Nigel Show.
A lot of schools talk about training the cybersecurity workforce of the future, but do they really deliver? My Computer Career has been supplying the IT workforce with thousands of skilled, certified pros for 15 years. Train with the experts in support, networking, or cybersecurity and start your career in months, not years. Upskill even faster. On campus or live online, qualified students may get financial aid, including the GI Bill. My Computer Career, accredited, acclaimed.